Good morning, all. Mary Bulger here, naturalist with Iowa County Conservation, and I want to welcome you to our virtual nature crafts. Today we are going to be making a rainbow. Since it's springtime, things are sunny, they're warming up, we're getting rain, and we're more likely to see rainbows. Rainbows happen when it is raining or right after the rain, where there is moisture in the atmosphere and the sunlight shines through those water droplets and refracts or kind of expands the light so we can see that beautiful rainbow. That's very often why we see rainbows during a rainstorm or right after a rainstorm. So we are going to be making a rainbow in a jar today, in a glass container. You can make this really simply. It's kind of a fun thing to do as a family and with kids because you get to talk a little bit about science and learn a little bit about science and about nature. And we don't need very many materials to make this as well. So I'm going to go over our materials, then we'll go through the process of making our rainbow in a jar. So what you'll need, you're going to need some glass containers because you're going to be using some warm or hot water to dissolve some things. So you need something that's sturdy, a little bit sturdier than plastic, of course. So you're going to need some glass containers. I have these little mugs right here. You could also use little jelly jars or a different kind of glass, whatever you have for glass containers. So I have 4 of those, 4 for our different colors that we're going to be using and 1 to make our rainbow in as a whole. You're going to need warm water, warm to hot water. I have a little kettle right next to me that I warmed my water in, but you can get warm water or hot water from the tap as well. Parents, be careful when you're working with hot water though with your kids. Make sure you're handling that so no one gets their little fingers burned. So you're going to need food coloring. So that box of food coloring that you get, the red, the yellow, the green, and the blue food coloring. You're going to need all of those 4 colors to make the rainbow. You're going to need some regular, just granulated sugar right here. And then you're going to need a tablespoon. And then some things to stir. You can really stir with anything. I'm going to be using some forks here to stir and dissolve my sugar and mix my food coloring in. You can use popsicle sticks, you can use a spoon, a straw, whatever you have. And then you're also going to need a straw to kind of drip your food coloring in to make your rainbow. So I'm going to start with, I already have my warm water in my jars here. So what you want to start with, you're going to kind of go in a certain order here. So I'm going to start with my red jar. I'm going to put 2 drops of food coloring in there. That'll give it plenty of color. And each jar is going to get a different amount of sugar because each of these colors are going to be a different density. We're going to be dissolving, we're going to be making a water sugar solution, and we're going to be dissolving the sugar. So in the red, you're going to be making or putting in 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then what I'm going to do is just stir that in to dissolve the sugar. Depending on the temperature of your liquid, it might dissolve really quickly, or it might take just a little bit. Now my water is pretty warm. This is dissolving pretty quickly, but that stirring motion will help it dissolve. Now, as you're doing this, it's a really neat time to talk about solutions with your kids, making a solution. So a solution is when you combined 2 things. So right now, we are combining the water and the sugar. We're dissolving that sugar in the water, and it's going to become a different thing. The density is going to change. So my water or my sugar is dissolved already. So I'm going to set this one down and move on to the next here. Next jar, I'm going to put the yellow. So I'm going to put 2 drops of yellow in my jar, yellow food coloring, and then I'm going to increase my sugar for this one. I'm going to put 4 tablespoons in because this is going to be a different kind of solution. So we got 4 there. And then I'm going to stir it up. Now, if you find that your liquid is not warm enough, one thing that you can do is you can take it to the microwave That's a good thing. That's a good reason to have the glass as well, glass containers. And you can put it in the microwave and heat it up for about 30 seconds. Take it back out, kind of short bursts, and then you can mix it and stir it. And that should help with the dissolving if your liquid isn't that warm. And mine is almost dissolved here. Usually stir it for about 30 seconds or so. All right, my yellow is good and dissolved there. My sugar in the yellow. We're gonna move on to our next color. Next is green. So we're gonna put 2 drops of the green food coloring, and then we are going to increase our sugar because this one is going to be more dense than the previous. So we're gonna put 6 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tablespoons of sugar in our green. And stir that up. This might take just a slightly longer to dissolve here as I'm stirring. And as you're stirring, as you're working with kids or if you're working as a family here, what you can notice as you're making your jars, have your kids or adults make observations on what is changing in the liquids. Does the red look different, not only in color, but in density than the other liquids? How does it move around in the glass container? It's going to look different as you make your different densities or solutions of the liquids. All right, almost dissolved here in my green. There we go, nice and dissolved. Now we are going to make our last solution. That's going to be the blue, which is going to be the most dense. 2 drops of the blue food coloring. And can you guess how many tablespoons of sugar? We're going to increase again. So we're going to make 8. Put 8 in here. That's a lot of sugar, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost out of sugar. 8. There we go. So we have our last solution. We're going to take and we're going to mix. That is a lot of sugar and it's a lot to dissolve here. Again, if you are having problems dissolving your sugar, take this glass container, put it in the microwave, heat it for about 30 seconds, then give it a good stir. That should help with the dissolving of the sugar. This is a fun part that kids can do too, stirring things, watching that sugar dissolve. Again, talk about those solutions, make some observations, and look at the different densities of the liquids. All right, almost there. See, they could try an experiment. If you stir really quickly, is it dissolving faster? If you stir slowly, how is it dissolving? So, really neat science experiments that you can do at home. All right, my solution is almost there for the blue. There we go. All right, so I have all of my solutions. The red has 2 tablespoons of sugar. The yellow has 4 tablespoons of sugar. The green has 6 tablespoons of sugar. And then the blue has 8 tablespoons of sugar. So we made solutions with those, water and sugar, dissolve that sugar in there. And you can definitely just take a minute to kind of look at how the liquid moves around, how thick it is. You have different densities in there. Now's the fun part where we get to build the rainbow, okay? This might be a little bit of the messy part, so you can use it, put a towel down, put a paper towel, whatever. But this stuff easily wipes up too because it's just liquid and food coloring, so you can do that however you want. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with the most dense liquid, which is the blue. And you're going to you can put some of it or you can put all of it in there, depending on how big your container is. Now my rainbow container is the same size as the liquids that I made, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of each in there. And with the blue, you can go ahead and pour. I'm just gonna pour a little bit in there. And so I have my blue here. I might turn my camera down so you guys can actually see it, so I don't have to move my liquid or my jar here very much. All right, so I have my blue liquid there, which is the most dense. It has the highest sugar solution in there. And next, you are going to, and I forgot my straw here, so I'm just going to be as very careful as I can. What you want to do with your straw, so you want to take your straw, you want to dip it into your next color here, and just drop your liquids in. If you pour it all in really quickly, guess what's going to happen to your solutions, your rainbow? They're going to mix together and you won't see those different layers on the rainbow. So you want to be extra careful. Use that straw to drop it in. I forgot mine today, so I'm just going to try really gently to put I'm just going to drop a little bit in there at a time. Maybe on the edge of the container. Oh, it is mixing a little bit. You can kind of see a little bit of that yellow layer here. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go grab my straw really quick. Hang with me here for a second because I'm going to be right back. All right, back with my straw here. So again, what you want to do is take your straw, grab some of that liquid in here like this, and then just gently drop it in. And you're going to have to be slowly. And what this will allow you to do is it will allow you to not mix your layers of color. Right on the surface here. Here's where everyone has to have some good patience. Right on the surface. Drop those on there. And we can start to see some layers of color. We have the blue on the bottom and the green on top of that. And why are they different? Because these liquids are different density. Maybe you've seen a container that has water and oil in it. The reason that oil will float on the water or in the water is because water and oil are different. They're both liquids, but they're different densities. So we're slowly transferring that from our green to our blue. And blues and greens are pretty similar colors, so they're going to kind of look the same. So we're going to maybe try a different color. So next, we're going to put the next dense or least dense liquid on there, which is going to be the yellow, and see if we can see that difference. We'll bring our yellow up over here close and put that on top. Again, we're using our straw. We're transferring just a little bit at a time, a few of those drops, to make sure that we don't mix our layers too much. We can see that rainbow. We're starting to see just a little bit of a difference in color. I'm going to try to carefully bring that up there. And can you see those differences in color, those different color layers? We have the blue, we have the green in the middle, and we're making a yellow layer here with our straw. Transferring that liquid. Again, this is a part where you're going to have patience to do. I'm starting to see my yellow layer just a little bit there. Let's brace it up right here. Kind of see that a little bit. All right, so let's try our next layer. The least dense layer, it only has 2 tablespoons, the red. And so we'll try that, see if we can see that color difference. Using our straw again, just dropping that in right on the surface. A neat thing that you could do if you have a really tall cylinder, so a tall skinny cylinder type vase, this would look really neat in that. It's also a good idea maybe not to move this around too terribly much, because you could mix those layers. All right, so let's take a look here. So look at those, I have some really thin layers as we're looking here. Kind of hard to see. So we have the blue, the green, a little bit of the yellow, and a tiny bit of the red. And so you can continue on as you're doing this project and put all of your liquid for all of the layers and fill up your glass container, and you will be able to make a beautiful rainbow. So I'm going to bring my screen up here. So that's our project for today. Really simple, really easy. You're talking a little bit about science, and you're learning how to make solutions with that water and the sugar, and you're learning a little bit about different densities of liquids, so by making those solutions. So if you have any questions for me about this project, please put those in the comments. Or if you have any requests for future Nature Crafts Live, you can email me those as well at mbulger@co.iowa.ia.us. And I'd be happy to take those. If you want to watch our past nature crafts, you can check those out here on our Facebook page or even on our YouTube page. Just search Iowa County Conservation. Look for those Nature Crafts Live. Well, we're going to continue this series on through the spring and the summer, as well as another one that we have called Critters Live, where we're teaching about different native Iowa animals. That's Monday morning at 10 a.m. live, or you can catch those both on our YouTube and Facebook as our past issues as well. Thank you very much for joining me today, everyone. I want to encourage you this weekend to get outside and explore. It is going to be gorgeous. Spring is here. I've been hearing chorus frogs, seeing lots of birds singing and hearing lots of birds singing. So get outside, do some exploring. When you're inside, make this cute little rainbow here in a jar, and have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.